Amazing twist, billionaire spots hidden clone of missing daughter. Heartwarming truths exposed. Lucas Hartman had it all, or so it seemed. A sprawling mansion in Silicon Valley, luxury cars lining the driveway, and a family that was the envy of his affluent neighbors. But beneath that glittering surface lay a dark void, the heartbreaking loss of his 16-year-old daughter, Emma. The laughter that once rang throughout his home was replaced by silence, a haunting reminder of the life snuffed out in a tragic car accident. The holiday lights adorning the town felt like a mockery now. They twinkled with joy while Lucas felt lost in an endless winter of grief. Days blurred into one another after Emma's death. He threw himself into his work at Hartman Technologies, diving into a world fueled by innovation and profit, a world where he could momentarily escape the throbbing ache in his chest. But even in his luxurious office, the scent of her favorite cookies wafted through the air, beckoning memories of family game nights and spirited conversations. Torn between sorrow and numbness, Lucas found it hard to breathe. As Christmas approached, the town buzzed with the kind of holiday cheer that could make anyone feel more alone. Reluctantly, he attended community events, pretending to smile while sharing platitudes about family. Still, the conversations swirled around him, a mix of love and loss, reminiscent of everything he no longer had. Somewhere deep within, hope flickered. The whispers grew louder, perhaps leading him to a chance, however improbable, to find a piece of Emma. A rumor about a secret lab on the outskirts of town drew his attention. Could this be the escape he sought? Could he find something to cling to? Driven by desperation, he sought the truth. What he discovered sent shivers down his spine. A hidden facility where scientists played God, pushing the boundaries of ethics. They had cloned Emma. They introduced him to Ellie, a girl who looked like his daughter, who moved with the same grace, who even recited Emma's favorite poems. But this girl, though a mirror of Emma, grappled with her own identity, questioning what it meant to exist. Lucas's heart raced. She embodied what he lost, yet he feared her presence was a reminder of the life forever altered. Do I love her? Or am I betraying Emma's memory? Those thoughts clawed at him every time he looked into Ellie's eyes. She brought back pieces of Emma's spirit, yet twisted it into something complicated. As Ellie bloomed into a reflection of hope, saving Lucas from drowning in despair, the town began to divide. Activists rose against her existence, led by the fiery Sarah, claiming it was unethical and unnatural. In town hall meetings, voices erupted, opinions shattered any semblance of peace. What did it mean to embrace a clone? Were they abandoning the memory of Emma? Lucas found himself standing at a crossroads. In that crowded room, with emotions boiling over, he faced a choice. Would he defend Ellie, exposing the town to a deeper understanding of family, or would he surrender to collective prejudices? He opened his mouth to speak, but the palpable tension blanketed the room, every heart waiting for a breakthrough or a breakdown. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. He stood there, gathering strength, his heart pounding against the walls of his chest. The air was thick, filled with apprehension and raw emotion, as Lucas focused on the faces around him. Only the right words could ignite a transformative moment. The room was alive, teetering on the brink of understanding. Or rejection. Would they grasp the meaning of love in its most profound form? With their hearts aching alongside his, could they accept Ellie, a chance to love again, and heal? In that split second, Lucas knew he was faced with a decision that could redefine his reality. What would he say? How could he possibly bridge the gap between the past and this strange, remarkable present? The moment hung in silence, brimming with possibility and fear, ready to alter everything he held dear. Lucas inhaled deeply, feeling the weight of their gazes like an anchor pulling him down. The faces before him were a mix of anger, confusion, and curiosity. He could hear their whispers, feel the heat of their judgments. Would they see Ellie like he did? Or would they forever view her as an abomination, a painful reminder of his loss? "Listen to me," he finally shouted, surprising even himself. "You all know what it's like to lose someone you love. We've all felt that hollow ache in our chests. It doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, young or old, grief knows no boundaries." He scanned the room, pouring everything he had into those words. Jimmy, the local mechanic, wore a face of skepticism, while Martha, the kind-hearted librarian, bit her lip, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. It struck Lucas then that grief wasn't just his burden. It belonged to everyone gathered there, each wrestling with their own scars. "We grieve, but what if we could find a way to remember and still love?" He gestured toward Ellie, who stood shyly against the wall, her eyes wide and reflective. She isn't a replacement, but a chance to experience love again. Isn't that what we all want? Murmurs erupted, a chorus of emotions rippling through the crowded hall. Sarah's voice cut through the noise, sharp and piercing. "But at what cost, Lucas? What about what it means to be human? Are we okay with reducing someone's life to science? To experiments?" The air crackled with tension. Lucas felt the fight within him swell. "You think I don't wrestle with this every single day?" His voice trembled as he continued, "I lost Emma. I would give everything to have her back. Yet, here stands Ellie, a chance to hold on to love, to make it meaningful again. Isn't that worth something?" Ellie shifted beside him, her gaze darting around the room as though searching for her place in a world that seemed so ready to reject her. Lucas felt his heart clench. She carries fragments of Emma. Songs and stories that live on in her. That's not wrong. He paused, struggling for the right words, it's a tribute. As the room absorbed his words, Lucas felt the tension beginning to ease, replaced by a strange mix of curiosity and empathy. He could almost see the wheels turning in their heads, a flicker of understanding igniting, then, a voice rang out from the back. "You're just using her to fill the void. What happens when the novelty wears off? When you wake up and realize she's not Emma?" Lucas's heart sank. Silence filled the hall once more. That stung. What if this wasn't a solution but a temporary escape? And what if the community never accepted her? Ellie stepped forward, trembling but resolute. "I'm not trying to be Emma. I can't replace her. But I can be me." The quiet strength in her voice was powerful, anchoring the moment. "I wasn't given the chance to choose my life, but I want to live it. I want to be loved, just as I am." 1,000 emotions flooded Lucas's soul. Hope, fear, even anger flickered within him. Could they rally? Could he stand strong beside her in this storm? Would he fight for a bond that transcended the ordinary definition of family? His heart raced as he took Ellie's hand. He couldn't face this alone. He didn't want to. He needed to know, could they push past the pain together? As he looked into her eyes, something shifted within him. Maybe Ellie wasn't a burden but a bridge between loss and new hope. But would others see it that way? With the crowd uncertain and tense, Lucas took a deep breath. This is bigger than just us. It's about understanding, love, and moving forward together. The murmurs began again, simmering with potential. He felt a new kind of resolve bubbling within him. They were standing on the precipice of something monumental, but would they take the leap? What was it going to take to make them see? And as he prepared to speak again, he wondered what if proclaiming his love for Ellie meant unraveling secrets that had long remained buried. What truths would he need to confront, and how would they change everything? A tense silence hung in the air, thick with anticipation. Lucas could feel his heart pounding in his chest as he searched the crowd for a flicker of support, something to latch onto. But the fear in their eyes was palpable, a collective hesitation that weighed down the room. Ellie stood beside him, vulnerable yet fierce, her presence a testament to the complexity of what they faced. He squeezed her hand tighter, silently urging her to draw strength from that bond. She needed to see that they were united, fighting against not only the skepticism of their neighbors but the tidal wave of grief and fear that threatened to overwhelm them. "How can we not be afraid?" someone whispered from the crowd. Lucas recognized the voice. It was Emily, a mother who had lost her son in a tragic accident just a year prior. "What if this is wrong? What if we are playing God?" "Playing God?" Lucas shot back. His voice was steadier now, less a plea and more a declaration. "This isn't about playing God, it's about humanity. About cherishing those we've lost while allowing ourselves to heal. Ellie is a chance, not just for me, but for all of us to see beyond our grief." Martha stepped forward, her eyes shimmering with concern. "But Lucas, do you really think this is how your Emma would want you to move on? Would she want you to have someone who carries her memory in such an uncertain form?" "Emma would want us to embrace life, even when it's hard," he countered, his throat tight. "She believed in love, in the unexpected. Ellie is not just an echo, she's a step toward rebuilding. She brings color back to a world turned gray." A low murmur rippled through the group. Lucas could see the flickers of internal battles reflected on their faces. He could feel their resistance, yes, but there was also curiosity, a deep-rooted wish to understand. Then Ellie spoke up, her voice steady, cutting through the tension like a knife. "I may not be perfect. I may never fill the void that Emma left, but I promise to honor her memory in my own way. I want to learn and grow, to become someone worthy of the love you all gave her." Lucas felt a surge of pride at her strength. This was more than just a battle for acceptance. It was a testament to resilience and the indomitable spirit of love reshaping itself amid sorrow. With each passing second, the atmosphere in the hall shifted as if the world was holding its breath, waiting to see where this would unfold. More eyes were turning to Lucas, more ears open to his words. "Let us not be afraid of what the future holds," he implored, looking from face to face. "Let us embrace this journey together, one step at a time. Let us discover what love can mean when we refuse to let it die with those we've lost." But then, from the back, an elderly man, Jim, shook his head dejectedly. "We can't forget that this isn't just your path to tread, Lucas. You're asking us to accept a new reality, one we might not be ready for. What if it backfires?" Lucas paused, the weight of Jim's words settling like lead in his stomach. The doubts were real. The possibility of this not working out, of Ellie suffering rejection, made his heart ache. Could he face that? His gaze flickered to Ellie, who was watching him with wide, hopeful eyes. He wanted to protect her from the ugly truths of the world. Yet, somewhere deep down, he knew that love wasn't about protection, it was about trust. As he opened his mouth to respond, a loud crash interrupted his thoughts. The doors to the hall swung open violently, and a shadow appeared against the light. Gasps filled the air as everyone turned in unison. "Lucas!" A voice boomed, and in that split second, Lucas felt the ground shift beneath him. What or who could emerge now to challenge everything he had just fought for? The answer would unravel more than just Ellie's acceptance, it could change everything. The crowd froze as the figure stepped into the room, the chaos of emotion transforming into a heavy fog of confusion. Lucas's heart raced as he recognized the man Jake, Emma's father, the billionaire whose life had been a whirlwind of grief and anger since her disappearance. The tension that had just begun to lift crashed down again like a falling stone. "Lucas!" Jake's voice rang through the hall, filled with equal parts urgency and desperation. His eyes were wild, searching, and as they landed on Ellie, it was as if the air around them thickened further. "What have you done? You've brought her back." Ellie's grip on Lucas's hand tightened, her face a mixture of fear and defiance. The questions swirling in the room shifted focus. Some turned to Lucas for answers, while others dared to gaze at Ellie, now the embodiment of their darkest fears. "Jake, wait!" Lucas shouted, trying to calm the rising storm. "You don't understand. Ellie is not Emma. But Jake stepped closer, his features falling deeper into anguish. Not Emma. She looks just like my daughter. How can you stand there and pretend this is not wrong? His voice cracked, pools of pain shimmering in his eyes. Do you know how long I've searched? How many nights I've spent hoping for a miracle? Lucas felt a lump form in his throat. He had known this confrontation could happen, but nothing prepared him for the rawness of Jake's emotions. The walls of the hall felt like they were closing in, a shared grief echoing through generations. Ellie is her own person, Lucas pleaded. She deserves a chance, and so do we. We can honor Emma's memory together without letting grief consume us. He cast a glance toward Ellie, who remained rooted beside him, her expression one of resolute resolve, but Jake seemed lost in his own whirlwind of questions. And what of my hopes? What if Ellie is just a shadow, a mockery of my daughter? A reminder of the life we lost? Ellie's voice cut through the building tension. I know I can't replace Emma. But I want to find my own path, to help you heal, not replace your daughter. Please give all of us, that chance. Her sincerity felt like a lifeline tossed into stormy waters. Lucas watched as moments stretched on, time suspended by Jake's choice. Then, something flickered in the elder man's eyes, a glimmer of hesitation mingled with fear. The crowd held its breath, and the atmosphere crackled with unspoken questions. What if this goes all wrong? Jim's voice pierced the silence again, filled with apprehension. What if accepting Ellie means digging the old wounds wider? For a brief moment, Lucas felt utterly breathless. Was that really what this was about? Fear pulling back their hearts like a child recoiling from a dark corner of a room? The crowd had fought hard to not be consumed by darkness, yet here it stood, the embodiment of their doubt before them. Jake, Lucas said softly, stepping forward. I can't promise you that this will be easy. But I can promise you that we'll take each step together, that we'll try. And just as hope blossomed in small ways among the crowd, a sharp intake of breath filled the room. Lucas, Jake murmured, and for a split second, the world narrowed. An unthinkable question trembled in the air, heavy with possibility. What if it's not only Emma's memory that brings us together? What if there's more to this than we ever thought? In that moment, everything hung in balance. The path forward felt uncertain, but the possibility of revelation, the chance that humanity, love, and forgiveness could weave through pain beckoned them closer. Lucas could almost feel the collective heartbeat of the crowd. Their loyalty, doubt, and burgeoning hope echoed in the silence. Tell me, he urged Jake, realizing that what they all needed to know next might finally change everything. Would they step toward a healing they thought forever lost? The closeness of the moment thrummed like a live wire, waiting for any spark to light the way. What lay behind Jake's eyes held every answer for their future. Jake's breath caught as he stared at Lucas, his mind racing and emotions swirling. It was as if time had slipped through their fingers. What do you mean more? His voice barely more than a whisper, revealing the underlying hope that struggled to break free from despair. Lucas took a step closer, feeling the weight of every gaze, every heart in that room, swirling with uncertainty and yearning. Maybe there's a way for all of us to heal, a chance to understand what Emma meant to us, and what Ellie can teach us. Ellie stood unwavering, her heart pounding in her chest. A mixture of fear and determination etched on her face. I'm not a puzzle piece to fit into your grief, she said, her voice steady, but I want to help us all find a way forward. We can't live in the shadows of the past forever. Jake's eyes narrowed, searching for the crack in her defiance. And what makes you think you have the right to say this? You don't know my pain. At that, Ellie's shoulders fell slightly. She took a breath and spoke from deep within. Maybe you're right. I can't feel your pain, but I've been alone all my life too. I've lost parts of myself along the way. I want to help you find Emma, in the only way I know how, by being myself. A murmur rippled through the crowd. They sensed something shifting, a fragile bridge between grief and possibility beginning to form. Jake still wrestled with his turmoil, but something softened in his eyes, a flicker of the father he used to be. Every time I see you, it's like looking in a mirror, but Emma's gone, and I buried her the day she disappeared. Lucas stepped in again, his voice urgent and pleading. Then let us unearth her memory. Let us talk about Emma, share stories, bring her life back to this moment. And in that, we can also welcome Ellie into our lives. This isn't about replacing. It's about embracing. Jake's breath quickened, his thoughts a whirlwind. He felt stretched thin, his heart a tangle of hope and doubt. And what if it shatters everything? Then we'll pick up the pieces, Lucas replied firmly. But maybe, just maybe, embracing the future can help us heal. You might find that accepting Ellie doesn't diminish Emma's memory, it honors it. The room felt electric with anticipation. Jake's head bowed slightly. You think I can do that? He asked, vulnerability creeping into his voice. Yes, Ellie piped in, taking a courageous step forward. Emma will forever be a part of you. Let me meet her, let me know the girl we all lost. The crowd held their breath again, tension building to an unbearable peak. Lucas could feel it radiating off them, all the fear of the unknown mingled with the glimmer of hope desperately seeking the light. Finally, Jake looked up, desperation still flickering in his eyes but now lit with curiosity. What if I can't handle it? What if it rips open old wounds? Then we'll face it together, Lucas assured him, locking eyes with Ellie. We're all in this. We share the weight, and maybe we'll find healing in the stories we tell. As Jake took a moment to evaluate, Ellie's steady presence became the anchor in that stormy sea of uncertainty. She met his gaze, her heart racing not just out of fear, but of the possibility of connection. I want to know Emma, and I need you to help me, Ellie added, her voice now stripped of fear and full of earnest longing. Let me be part of remembering and honoring everything she was. Would Jake take that leap? Would he see beyond the pain and into the light of healing? Lucas could sense the fragile thread of hope on the cusp of unraveling, wondering if it would weave a new path or fray back into darkness. As the tension hung in the air, unbroken, a stray thought crept into Lucas' mind. What if this was only the beginning? Would they not only uncover memories of Emma but unravel truths yet unearthed about who Ellie truly was? The crowd waited, as did he, breathlessly wondering just how this tangled web of loss, yearning, and unexpected hope would play out. Jake inhaled deeply, wrestling with the pull of his emotions. It felt like each word Ellie had spoken scraped at the tender edges of his grief. Was it truly possible to embrace her memory and Ellie at the same time? His heart felt both heavy and achingly light, as if the universe was teetering on the edge of some monumental discovery. Emma had a way of bringing people together, he murmured, almost to himself, his voice thick with emotion. I remember a time she gathered the neighbors for a silly block party, just a small thing, really, but it turned into an entire day of laughter and ice cream. She didn't care how things turned out, she just wanted everyone to be happy. Ellie's hopeful gaze remained locked on Jake, and for an instant, he saw her not just as a stranger but as someone who might grasp the beauty of Emma's spirit. Tell me more, she whispered, her enthusiasm palpable. What else did she love? Jake glanced around the room, noticing how the small crowd seemed to lean in, hungry for each word. Lucas nodded, encouraging him. Emma was a dreamer. She had these wild ideas, plans that always sounded crazy until she made them happen. Like that time she wanted to start a community garden. Even got the mayor involved. Laughter rippled through the room, a collective warmth scattering the shadows that had hung there for so long. Jake found himself smiling despite the tears threatening to escape his eyes. I tried to tell her we didn't have the time for all that, but she wouldn't hear it. She was relentless. Relentless, Ellie echoed softly, taking in every detail, as if each memory was a breadcrumb leading her closer to the heart of the girl who had been lost. That sounds like brave courage. Maybe, Jake said, his voice trembling. But the truth is, I didn't appreciate it enough until it was gone. I've been stuck in my grief, frozen while the world kept moving. I think I forgot how to remember her, how to keep her spirit alive. Lucas stepped forward, sensing the shift in energy. But sharing her stories, talking about her light, that's how we keep her alive, Jake. And it's how you can pull Ellie into that space without losing what Emma meant to you. Look at how you're beginning to connect. Ellie smiled, inspired. I want to know these stories. I want to feel what she brought to you, to all of us. It's about finding her in the colors of your memories. Jake felt something shift within him. The past would always be a part of him, but then again, maybe there was room for something new. There could be a way to cherish Emma while also welcoming Ellie's spirit, which somehow mirrored Emma's light. Okay, then, he agreed, taking a deep breath. Let us do this. Let us tell stories. The room buzzed with renewed energy, laughter, and newfound strength. As they shared moments, memories began weaving together a tapestry of Emma's life and the promise of Ellie's presence, full of potential. But as the night wore on, a feeling lingered on the edge of Jake's consciousness, a flicker of doubt he tried to push away. What if they unearthed secrets best left buried? He couldn't shake the nagging thought that there was more to uncover about Emma's life that might change everything. Just then, Ellie looked at him, curiosity dancing in her eyes. What else is there, Jake? What's the truth you've been hiding? Jake froze. The weight of her question echoed in the room, and he could feel the eyes upon him, filled with anticipation and concern. Would he dare to peel back the layers of his grief? What other truths awaited them beneath the surface? The night had only begun, and he felt as if they had just cracked open a door to a deeper understanding. Was he ready to walk through it? Jake's heartbeat pulsed in his ears as he stood frozen, Ellie's question lingering in the air like thick fog. He felt the weight of memories pressing down on him, suffocating yet strangely liberating. He had lived for so long in silence, cocooned in his grief. But now, here was Ellie, drawing him out into the light, and it felt both terrifying and exhilarating. I don't know if I'm ready, he stammered, unsure where to begin. The room seemed to hold its breath, eyes wide with curiosity and empathy. It felt like they were on the brink of something profound, yet the thought of opening up felt like standing on the edge of a cliff. Think of it as part of the story, Lucas chimed in gently. One that we're all part of now. Emma's story has many layers, right? Just like all of us. Jake swallowed hard, willing his mind to focus on the happy moments, the laughter, the spark that Emma had brought into their lives. But even as he thought of this, the darker echoes pulled at him, tugging him towards secrets he had buried deep. Emma had dreams. Big ones, Jake began, his voice barely above a whisper. And some of those dreams touched on things I never supported. Like her obsession with finding ways to bring the community together. She believed so fiercely in connection. It's what she taught me. Like the art show she organized. Ellie suggested, her eyes shining with encouragement. Yes, exactly. Jake exhaled, thankful for her interjection. She even put up a mural that captured everyone's stories told through color, images. It was beautiful. But I remember standing there, all grumpy, thinking it wasn't worth the effort. He paused, his throat tightening. What I see now is that it meant something to everyone but me. I didn't just ignore her, I stifled her passion. I was so caught in my own grief that I couldn't see how important it was to her. Ellie frowned, biting her lip as she considered his words. You loved her, she said softly. Even if the love sometimes got tangled in the messiness of life and loss. We all have those moments. Jake nodded, tears pricking at the corners of his eyes. But there was one thing I didn't know, something Emma kept from me. I found a letter, after she was gone. She spoke about finding someone to represent her, some way to ensure her spirit lived on. I never understood who or what she meant. Ellie leaned closer, intrigue etched across her face. What else did it say? Just that she worried about disappearing, about being forgotten. It's haunted me, the idea that I couldn't help keep her memory alive when she was so determined to find a way. The room fell silent, every person present feeling the weight of what Jake had revealed. As his fears spilled out into the open, a thread of tension began to weave through the gathered crowd. Ellie gently placed her hand on his sleeve, her voice steady. "Maybe it's time you find out what she meant, Jake. All of us want her to live on. We can help you uncover more. There is something in that mystery, I can feel it." At that moment, Jake felt as if the ground beneath him had shifted. The idea of confronting those hidden truths, once so daunting, stirred a strange sense of anticipation. What if digging deeper meant not just discovering Emma's wishes but also truly understanding himself? "Are you ready to dig?" Lucas asked, a twinkle of encouragement in his eye. Jake inhaled deeply, feeling the breath of those around him, an unseen support. "Yeah, but I don't know what's waiting for us. I can't promise it will be easy." Ellie smiled, determination shining in her eyes. "Then we'll face it together. You're not alone anymore." As the night moon bathed them in silver light, Jake felt a glimmer of hope flicker in the darkness. They were standing at the threshold of an unexplored journey, one that had the power to rewrite the narrative of loss into one of discovery. But what were they about to uncover? What mysteries lay hidden within Emma's words that might change everything? Would he be ready to face whatever came next? Jake felt the gravity of the moment as the air thickened with unspoken questions. The faces around him were a mix of encouragement and concern, each encouraging him to take that first step into the unknown. He glanced at the flickering shadows cast by the candlelight dancing across the walls. It wasn't just his own journey anymore, it was a shared expedition fueled by friendship and the need for closure. "Okay," he said, voice steadying. "If we're really going to do this, let us start with that letter." The determination in his heart ignited as he recalled the crumpled page he had tucked away in his drawer, untouched since that day. "What did it say exactly?" Lucas asked, leaning forward, eager for the first clue. Jake rubbed his temples lightly. "Just bits and pieces, mostly her fears, and there was this line that stood out to me." He paused, summoning the courage to recite it. "Find someone who will light the way when I can't." I never understood it until now. Ellie's brow knitted in thought. Someone. Do you think she meant there was a person who held a key to her dreams? Or a project? Maybe both, Jake pondered aloud. I remember her mentioning a friend, someone she'd worked with on community projects. But she never really spoke much about them. She kept that part of her life separate, and I didn't pry. The sleeves of his jacket felt too tight as memories flooded through him, thoughts of Emma laughing, a vibrant spirit with dreams that soared above their small town. He needed to unearth every detail. Let us start there, Ellie said eagerly. Who was this friend? They might have more information. I think her name was Sarah. She ran the local art supply shop, Jake replied, trying to piece together the fragments of his memories. They were close, I just never really paid attention. I was too wrapped up in my own grief to realize Emma had a deeper connection with the community. Ellie nodded, the wheels clearly turning in her mind. Let us go find her. We can't waste time. Lucas chimed in, and maybe catch up with the people involved in the art show too. If Emma's legacy means something to her, perhaps the others can enlighten us about her intentions. A surge of adrenaline rushed through Jake. It was more than a mission, it was a chance to redeem himself for all the times he had held Emma back. He felt the grip of fear tightening, but there was also a spark of courage igniting within. Okay, Jake said slowly, but I don't want to dig up the past to hurt anyone. If we're going to do this, we have to honor her. Ellie's hand tightened on his sleeve. We will. This isn't just about finding someone, it's about understanding your love for her and carrying it forward. As they prepared to leave, Jake caught Lucas' eye, a silent agreement passing between them. With one final glance around the room, he felt a mix of nostalgia and hope wash over him. When they stepped outside, the cool night air wrapped around them like a comforting blanket. The moon hung high, illuminating a path that led into the unknown. It wouldn't just be about Emma, it would be about healing, forgiveness, and learning to embrace life again. Suddenly, a thought struck Jake like a bolt of lightning. What if Sarah doesn't want to talk? What if she's moved on? How do we even approach her? Ellie squeezed his shoulder reassuringly. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Remember, she's a part of your story too. Jake took a deep breath, feeling the warmth of their support fortify his resolve. They were embarking on something significant. But then, his heart sank at another realization. What if Sarah had her own secrets that could shatter what he thought he knew about Emma? Would the truths they uncovered bring solace or more pain? As they began their journey into the night, the questions hung heavy like stars in a dark sky. What awaited them in the shadows of Emma's past? Jake felt the tension in the air as they walked down the quiet street. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if the weight of their mission settled on his shoulders. Lucas walked alongside him, his hands shoved deep into his pockets, eyes scanning their surroundings. Ellie, just a few steps ahead, looked like a beacon of determination, her pace steady. What do you think Sarah will say? Lucas asked, breaking the silence. Do you think she knows something we don't? Jake shrugged, uncertainty pooling in his gut. I hope she does. I need to know more about Emma's life, the parts one was blind to. Ellie paused, turning slightly. It's not about blame, Jake. These past few years they've been rough for all of us. You weren't the only one feeling lost. His heart twisted at her words. I just wish I had been more present. I didn't realize how much Emma meant to so many. The art supply shop was just a few blocks away, yet the closer they got, the more Jake's anxiety bubbled to the surface. He couldn't shake the image of Sarah's face when they knocked on her door. Would she welcome them, or would he see a hint of resentment in her eyes? As they rounded the corner, the brightly colored signs of the shop stood out in the dim evening light. He hesitated at the entrance, feeling the weight of the past pressing down. Jake, Ellie said softly, placing a hand on his arm. Take a second. Breathe. Whatever happens, we're in this together. He nodded, drawing in a deep breath. The scent of paint and paper wafted through the door as they stepped inside. The shop felt alive with creativity, each corner filled with the vibrant colors he knew Emma loved. His heart tugged as he discovered reminders of her scattered about. Hey! A familiar voice called from the back. Sarah emerged, her auburn hair tucked behind her ears, a look of surprise washing over her features. Jake. I didn't expect to see you here. Hi, Sarah, he said, managing a weak smile. It's been a while. Too long, she replied, her expression softening. She glanced at Ellie and Lucas, then back to Jake. Is everything okay? Jake took an unsteady breath, holding on to Ellie's reassuring presence. Actually, we're here because of Emma. We want to talk about her. About what she meant to you. Sarah's expression shifted. He could see the flicker of recognition mixed with a hint of hesitation. Emma. She was special. Jake stepped forward, hoping to bridge the gap. We found a letter she wrote and we need to know more about the project she cared about. Her eyes narrowed slightly, contemplation etched on her face. I didn't know she was still thinking of her art dreams. She had so many ideas but she stopped sharing them. Why? Lucas interjected, his curiosity evident. Sarah hesitated, biting her lip. It was complicated. She felt like she was losing herself and she needed someone to help her find the path again. But she felt so alone. As Sarah spoke, Jake's chest tightened. Pieces of Emma's struggle began to take shape. The more he listened, the more he understood the shadows that haunted her. It didn't matter how many years had passed, the pain lingered, intertwined with so many unanswered questions. Can you help us? Jake asked quietly. Help me understand what she was hoping to accomplish. A moment passed before Sarah nodded slowly. I can try, but it might not be what you're hoping for. As they settled into the cozy surroundings of the shop, Jake felt a mix of dread and anticipation. The deeper they delved into Emma's past, the more he realized not everything would be easy to bear. Just then, a soft chime from the front door interrupted the conversation. Jake turned to see a figure silhouetted against the night. His heart raced. Who was this newcomer? Would they hold more truths, or would they muddy the waters further? The door swung wider, and he was met with a familiar, unexpected face. It was Sarah again, but not the one Jake had seen earlier. It was someone entirely different, her daughter, an exuberant girl with curly hair and bright eyes. "Mom! I thought I heard you talking about Emma," she exclaimed. The room fell silent, Jake's heart racing as guilt washed over him. How many people had Emma touched? How many lives had been changed and uplifted by her presence? "Can we talk, too?" the girl asked, looking at Ellie and Lucas, her excitement palpable. "I used to paint with her. She was amazing. I even have some of her sketches. They're so colorful they inspire me." Jake's throat tightened again, feeling a swell of emotion. "You have her sketches?" "Where?" "Back at home," she said, bouncing on her heels. "I could grab them. She always wanted to be an artist, she told me. I never forgot it." But it was Sarah's expression that caught Jake's attention. "Emma had her dreams, sure," she said, her voice softening. "But she also carried the burden of feeling lost. I wish I had done more to show her the way. The sketches, they would be perfect." Jake's mind raced. What if uncovering these pieces could lead them back to who Emma was before everything turned dark? "Can we see them?" he asked, heart pounding. "Let us all go," Ellie chimed in, her determination lighting up the room. This could be it. This could help us honor Emma and see what she had in mind. As they made their way to Sarah's house, Jake's heart swelled with hope. This was more than a search, it felt like a vital reconnection, like a puzzle coming together. Arriving at Sarah's home, the anticipation was electric. Jake watched as Sarah rummaged through a dusty box filled with paint supplies. "She was so passionate," Sarah whispered, pulling out a bundle wrapped in fabric. When she finally unveiled the sketches, Jake's breath caught. They were radiant, every stroke filled with life, color exploding from the pages like sunshine. "Oh my God," he breathed, feeling emotions he hadn't accessed in so long. "Emma wanted to create something beautiful for all of us. She wanted to remind us that art has the power to heal," Sarah said, her fingers tracing one of Emma's portraits. "But she lost her way, and I didn't help her find it." As they flipped through her sketches, memories began flooding back. Jake recounted every story in detail, sharing with Ellie and the rest how Emma would sketch everything from local wildlife to portraits of her friends. In every piece, she poured her soul. She had such a gift. Ellie exclaimed, her eyes bright. "This means so much more than embracing Emma's past, it's about understanding her hope for the future." Jake could feel the healing unfolding before him. He shared laughter and love through every piece, breaking free from guilt and stepping into joy. Emma urged all of us to embrace our creativity. Ellie urged. "This isn't just about surviving, it's about honoring Emma by living fully." The floodgates of connection gushed wide open, as if Emma herself was guiding them forward. In this very moment, there was no fear, only unity, love, and the thrill of rediscovering someone they had lost so profoundly. As they gathered around the sketches, Jake made a promise to himself and to Emma's spirit. He vowed to celebrate the beauty she had always sought to share, not just for Emma, but for Ellie and everyone who needed to feel that light again. With each sketch, they discussed plans to hold an art show in Emma's honor. It would showcase not just her talent but encourage the whole community to search within themselves for creativity and healing. The journey was far from over, but at that moment, Jake felt the weight lift. Together they would find a way to intertwine grief with the living energy of Emma's memory and Ellie's hopeful presence. Nothing could fracture their bond now. They were family by choice, willing to walk this path hand in hand. As laughter echoed through their hearts, tangible hope danced in the air, showing them that even the heaviest sorrow can give way to renewal and love. Together, they were breathing new life into the colors of remembrance. Now, in this beautiful tapestry they were weaving, it was clear that every piece mattered. Elation surged through them as they embraced what lay ahead, one filled with the art of living, the joy of connection, and all the messy beauty of love. Their journey had transformed, and the future beckoned brightly, urging them to paint their own lives boldly. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories of transformation like this. This is the moment to show your support, your voice matters. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread these important stories. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about the ending, and don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your actions make a difference. Let us keep this community growing.